Okay, Dr. Kochar, do stay with us as we move on to our next story and we head over to the Middle East. And US President Donald Trump says the United States is now sending a larger naval force towards Iran, calling it a powerful armada. At the same time, the US has imposed new sanctions on Iran's Interior Minister, Alexander Momeni, and others, accusing them of overseeing a brutal crackdown on nationwide protests. Treasury officials also targeted a prominent businessman and digital exchanges linked to Iranian financial networks. Meanwhile, Tehran says it is ready to begin negotiations, but only on equal footing. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi says any talks must be based on mutual interests and mutual respect. He was speaking in Istanbul after meeting his Turkish counterpart Hakan Fidan, as Turkey offers to play a facilitating role between the United States and Iran. Dr. Kochar joins us once again to discuss this. Of course, tensions have been building now for weeks, particularly after these protests and the reports that thousands of people in Iran have been killed by the forces there. Now Donald Trump says he is moving what he calls an armada over to the seas near Iran. Do you think the possibility is there for Donald Trump to strike the country, and also when do you think that might occur, and what would be the benefits and of course the cons of doing so?
Thank you, Thomas. A very interesting question because it sums up the entire situation in Iran. So let's discuss this step by step. The first part is that why this action has been taken by America now, and what are the likely implications on Iran and on the course of the talks which are possibly likely to happen. This I feel is part of the coercive diplomacy which Trump is resorting to, because he has put sanctions on the Interior Minister. He is raising military pressure of the United States in this region by moving additional warships, as well as the second aircraft carrier also moved in, and sanctions also being imposed now. So he is trying to force Iran into talks from a weakened position. So that has been the basic aim. And also these naval deployments, what are the implications? They signal a readiness for maritime escalation, like in the Gulf of Hormuz or Gulf of Oman. And it also sends a reassurance to the Gulf states as well as to the Israeli allies that US is ready to take action, as well as deter the proxy actions like the Hezbollah, Houthis, and Hamas. Of course, Hamas now is totally somewhat decimated, but it brings about that part of it. Now, the second part of the question is that will Donald Trump strike, and what will be the implications of that? Okay, now, according to my analysis, there were many who felt that the attack is going to come in 48 hours, 72 hours. I personally feel that Donald Trump will not attack Iran under the present circumstances. And I've got my reasons for saying that. My reasons are that whenever you plan an attack or a war, you are looking at the end state. At what state are you going to leave it, or what are you going to achieve at the end of this entire thing? You see, a regime change in case boots on grounds are not taking place, which has been categorically mentioned by Donald Trump. A regime change becomes a mirage. It becomes a thing which you will not be able to enforce because of the constitutional society of Iran, the way Iran has been structured. A regime change in Iran can only take place in case the people want it to happen. And that has actually not happened because all these strikes, etc., have fizzled out. And the situation has been brought under control by the Iranian Revolutionary Guards. As normally it has been the practice in Iran. So unless there is a dramatic revolution in Iran and this unrest and protest spreads to the entire part of the country, because so far we have seen the protests only limited to certain cities
Yes.
and not the entire region of Iran. So unless it is that kind of a situation, I don't think a regime change may happen.
Doc-
So
yeah.
that is the reason US is not. And my last point is that Khomeini is also a threatened of strikes which may cause a certain amount of damage to the US assets in the Gulf. If you remember, there are almost 9
Yes.
bases which US has, as well as Israel, because they don't have those kind of so many interceptors that they'll be able to tackle all the missiles emanating from Iran. So I think this kind of signaling has worked on Trump's mind that in case he strikes Iran, they are not going to be a great tangible gain. So he is waiting. He's
Okay.
trying to use sanctions and he is looking for talks with Iran.
Dr. Kochar, thank you very much for taking the time in joining us. Of course, we move on to another US-related development, and the Committee to Protect Journalists has